Hey, what's going on? I hope you guys are doing well today. I wanted to come to you because I just got off an interview with Michelle Evans, who is a student of my Facebook Groups Rock course, and I was interviewing her as a case study about how she's been using Facebook Live in her group. And super powerful, super amazing, and so much of what constantly came up during our conversation was this idea of experimenting and how business is really just a series of constant experiments over and over again. And so I wanted to come to you because it just flooded me with a lot of things that I consider that I have known intellectually for a long time, and you, I'm sure, know intellectually, but actually living out and owning some of these truths about experimenting, about how business grows, and about how you continue to evolve as a business owner are very true. So I just felt really compelled to come and share these. One of the things that I feel like I really love to do and I'm really good at is being able to sort of take a concept and put it into break it down into actionable steps. So I wanted to share with you the truths about experimenting in your business and how, when you really accept and embrace this idea of experimenting and start calling it that, it really helps you break free from this fear that we don't have it right and we're not doing it perfectly. So as you're showing up, go ahead and make a comment below and let me know that you're here and that you're watching. And if you have some questions along the way, I would love to answer them, okay? So anyway, so here we go. I'm going to dive right in. So the first truth about experimenting in your business is the fact that you have to be willing to suck when you start. If you're using any sort of new tool, if you're using any sort of new platform, if you're doing anything new, if you're launching something new, if you're talking about something new, if you're just sort of in the first stages of something new in your business, you have to know that you're going to suck at it for a little while. And that's just the honest truth. I've been podcasting now for about 2.5 years, and I go back and listen to some of those first interviews and cringe because I was so buttoned up. I was so uber professional. My interview style hadn't really come out yet. It was really just this back and forth, asking a question, they answer. Then I ask the next question, then they answer. And I wasn't in the groove of being a great interviewer yet. And so, I knew that I just sucked in the beginning. And once you really accept that, it becomes okay to know that I'm just going to suck at this the first couple of times out, or in this first little phase of me trying this. Facebook groups. I've had a Facebook group for a little over 2 years now. And when I first started the group, I really sucked. I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying a lot of things to just get engagement. I tried different questions. I tried different posts, and some of them worked and some of them didn't. I tried to connect with members in different ways. Most ways worked, but some ways definitely didn't. And so I had to be willing to really just suck as a group leader for a little while and believe that by experimenting with certain things, I was sort of starting to gain an understanding of how things worked best, right? Facebook Live, this is another example. This is probably my, I've probably done about a dozen Facebook Lives at this point, so not a lot, but my first couple of Facebook Lives sucked. I mean, I made the mistake of, one thing that if you haven't done a Facebook Live yet, your phone actually has to be standing up, which is actually the opposite of what I've become used to. I'm used to my phone being like this and taking pictures that way and doing videos that way. Well, on Facebook Live, your phone has to be straight up like this. And so the first time around, I didn't know that. And people watched me sideways for my very first Facebook Live. So the point is that when you are going in business and when you're sort of putting new stuff out there and when you're, whether you're brand new to business or whether you've been in business for a couple of decades and you're starting something new, you have to be willing to suck. So that's our first truth. The second truth that I find as being very helpful is you really need to have a safe place, and I'm going to use quotes, a safe place for you to experiment. So let's just use this example of a Facebook Live. If you are using Facebook Live for the first time, I started experimenting with my Facebook Live within my Facebook group because for me, that was a really safe space for me to be. And I knew that the people in there loved me. I knew that I could screw up and suck and they would be okay with it, and they would support me, and they would just, be cheering me on. Hi guys, I'm so happy you're coming on. Go ahead and comment below. Let me know if you have any questions during this time, or if you just let me know where you're watching from. So basically having a safe space for you to try stuff out is a very smart idea. So if you are about to launch a product, let's say, or about to launch a service, or you're about to make known to the world that you provide, this type of coaching or this type of help in any way, it might be a really smart idea to experiment with that, like to try it out in a safe space. So perhaps you have a group of friends, or, perhaps you have, let's say, about half a dozen to a dozen people who are already clients of yours, or who just follow you and they love what you do, and you could tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm about to do this. Would you be part of the pilot program for this? So that could be a really cool word to utilize. Would you be part of the pilot program in order for me to kind of test this out and try this out? People who launch courses do this a lot. So they will say, hey, I'm going to tap on the shoulders of about a dozen people who I know, who I love, who I know would get value out of this course. And I kind of want them to go through this and just tell me it's good and make sure everything's okay. So this is really, really a really important step in this experimenting game, because it allows you to put yourself out there and take action on something, but it allows other people to see it first before you sort of make it known to the world and really go big with a launch. So this could save you a lot of time and money, because you're sort of taking a mid step before you really put yourself out there. Okay. So that is a very, very powerful way to do it. Again, this could be on a trusted, a physical group of people. It could be a trusted, an email list of people who've been following you for a long time, people who are in your Facebook group. It could just be that space. So find your space to experiment first, and do it safely before you really go, all out. The third truth is really take stock in knowing what you're learning along the way. So as you try something new, as you launch something, as you start a podcast, as you start doing Facebook Lives, as you start your Facebook page, as you start doing LinkedIn ads, whatever it is, be super cognizant of what lessons you're learning. So just start to see what works, what doesn't, and make sure that you absorb those lessons. And every single time that you iterate and go back to do it again, implement those lessons. And so on Facebook Live number 1, I learned the lesson that I needed to hold the thing up. So on Facebook Live number 2+, I've made sure to actually implement those lessons. On Facebook Live number 12, I learned that having props in my hand and making sure that there's some activity going on, so it constantly gets people interested, and there's visual cues that are really interesting other than just this talking head right here that they're listening to all the time. I've learned that. So implement those lessons. So just make sure you're being very cognizant of what lessons are there to learn, and without drama, without judging yourself for not knowing that lesson probably. Just go ahead and learn a lesson and implement it, okay? And now we're down to number 4, which is probably my favorite, which we oftentimes forget. The fourth truth about experimenting in your business is that you have to pat yourself on the back and give yourself some credit for experimenting. So here's what's going to happen. So you start, let's say you launch an email newsletter, and every single week you've been doing this email newsletter. And the first week it sucked because, step number 1, it sucks. And, it didn't look really pretty, and, you accidentally sent it and the link didn't work in there, or whatever it is, or you had you accidentally put in a graphic that wasn't, the right graphic, or whatever it is. But you just keep doing it, and you keep experimenting, and you learn those lessons, and pretty soon, 6 months down the road, you've sent weekly newsletters every single week to people, and you've learned a heck of a lot about email communication and consistency in emails, and that's great, and you probably are experiencing a flood of interest for you because of that, or people are starting to take notice. You're feeling the momentum in your business because you're continually doing it. Well, 6 months out, it's really important that you stop, take stock of who you are now and what you've learned, and pat yourself on the back for knowing, I've come a long way. I actually do know a lot about this, and I'm on my way to mastery. That's what I really think that this is. Business, the way that you master business is you accept, the first step to mastering business is that you accept that it's all one giant experiment and a series of experiments all along the way. So even those business masters that you look up to and you think are so amazing and can never do wrong, they are experimenting with new things all the time. That's what keeps us sharp in business. So again, I want to go over the 4 truths of experimenting in your business. Foundationally, that this game called business takes a lot of experimenting and a lot of willingness to experiment. So once you understand that, it relinquishes you of the fear of looking stupid and moving forward and doing it wrong, because you are going to look stupid and you are going to do it wrong. And that's just part of the game. So number 1, be willing to suck. Number 2, have a safe space where you can practice and sort of do a mid-step first before you really go all out on it. Number 3, really take a look at what you're learning along the way. Really absorb those lessons that you're learning and implement those lessons into you moving forward. And number 4, congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, and recognize yourself for somebody who's making major progress, okay? Thank you so much for being here. If you have any interest in sitting down and having really zoned in focus time, I am doing a special contest right now for everyone who's a part of my Biz Women Rock community, which you are. All you have to do is go to bizwomenrock.com/workwithkatie. And there's an opportunity for you to enter into a contest there and win a free 90-minute strategy session with me. So I would love to see you there. It'd be a lot of fun to get a deep dive look into what's going on in your business and being able to help you out with that. So thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down below and I'm happy to answer. Mwah!